Welcome to this Petals Club recycling fine china to make mosaic hearts. In this project box you'll have lots of pre-cut china pieces ready to be used. So we're going to start as always with the border, and this time you've got lots of little 1 centimetre vitreous tiles, and we just place those around the edge so they're but up to the edge, but they don't lean over the edge. So put these about a millimetre apart, and you can either put the glue on the shape and stick the tiles into it like I've done here, or you can put the glue on the back of each individual tile. It's entirely up to you. Check that the tiles are pressed down firmly, and then if you can, leave it for about half an hour before you go on to the next stage. So you're going to get a bag of pre-cut china pieces, all different colours and shapes. Spread them out into the kit box or onto a small tray like I've done here. And the idea is a little bit like a jigsaw. I start by placing 3 tiles dry onto the shape, just picking up and seeing what works best. So once I'm happy with the 3 pieces, then I stick those down with the glue. I'm using a pair of tweezers here to pick up the pieces, and I'm applying the glue to the back of the china tile. So I put quite a generous amount of glue on the back, but not so much that when I push it down it squishes out everywhere. Don't forget to use your little orange stick there to nudge things into place. I find it very useful for this type of project. So once I've stuck those ones down, I then start on the next piece. And I think I glue as I go along now, but that's probably because I've had a bit more experience. But there is a lot of picking up, does this fit? Not quite, let's try a different piece. And there should be enough different shaped pieces in the bag, so you don't have to do any cutting if you don't want to. But if you've already got wheeled nippers, sometimes it's just helpful just to nip off a corner to make a piece fit nicely. You can take your time doing this. It's quite therapeutic trying to find the right piece to go against another piece that's there, and do you need a little bit away, or do you want that colour next to that colour because it's already there? So there's so many different possibilities creating something with fine china, especially when you've got so many different coloured pieces in this sort of kit. Oops, what happened there? It escaped. So yes, it can be a little bit fiddly doing this. It could be easier to use your fingers to pick things up, but I find it sometimes better to use the tweezers. I've sped this next bit up because, well, you know what you're doing now. So it's just a case of picking things up. Does that fit next there? Yes, it does. And then sticking them down. And if it doesn't fit, try and find another piece. Looking like I'm quite lucky here, picking up pieces that fit first time. Maybe that's my experience. But the closer you get to the end of filling it in, the harder it will be to find the right piece. And you don't want to get too small, because one corner will have small pieces in and the other corner will have larger pieces. So this is when you probably need to use your wheeled nippers just to nip a little corner off here and a little corner off there to make it fit. But as you see, I'm picking up loads of pieces here, trying this to make it work. So that's the last piece in. So I'm just going around it, just checking everything is pushed down. It's got a good connection to the from the tile to the MDF underneath, and then I'll let it dry overnight before I grout. But there we are, look, all quite nice and neat, and the gaps are all quite even. Yeah, so I'm going to grout both pieces together this time, and we've got black grout because I think on this project the black grout will make the colours in the china really pop. So what we need is our bag of grout, a little mixing pot, a mixing stick, some water, which I'm going to add using a teaspoon. So yeah, I'm going to pour in probably 1/2 to 3/4 of the grout into the plastic container. It's just an old yogurt pot that I've got. So I've saved a little bit of grout, powdered grout, just in case I've added too much water and I need more grout to thicken it back up. So I think I've started with 4 teaspoons there, and then just mix it very slowly with your mixing stick so it doesn't puff up into your face. It's like fine icing sugar. It's very fine, and you don't want to really breathe it in and get it everywhere. So yeah, obviously that's not enough water in there, so add another couple of teaspoons and give it another stir. I'm looking for a cream cheese toothpaste type consistency, you know, peanut butter, that sort of thickness. So I'm just adding a little bit of water at a time, making sure that I'm giving it a good stir in between. So it's still a bit too thick there. Still a bit of powder at the bottom. So another teaspoon, because it's easier to add water than it is to take it away. So yeah. Okay, I think we're getting there now. It's looking like a good texture. Yeah, all the powder at the bottom is mixed in, and it's a bit like cream cheese, you know, toothpaste, that sort of consistency, peanut butter. So there we are. So you'll let it slake for a couple of minutes to let the chemicals in the grout do their magic, and then I'm putting well, it's probably about half of what's in the pot onto, this is the larger heart, and then I'm just spreading it across like I'm buttering a bit of toast, trying to squish it into all the gaps and going around the sides as well, because these vitreous tiles have got a little bit of a lip underneath, or a space underneath, so you want to make sure that the grout gets squished into those gaps as well. So, and then once I've given it good butter with the mixing stick, get your fingers in. So wearing gloves, just go around the edges, squish it in between the tiles. Of course the china is different heights, so you want to make sure that it is all covered, and I'm also covering up the hanging hole at this stage. Don't need to worry about the hanging hole at this moment, so make sure that's all covered up. Once I'm satisfied that everything's got a good covering of grout and I've squished it into all the gaps, I'm just going to wipe off a little bit of the excess. So this is just off the top of the tiles. I'm not wiping off in between the tiles. So now they're all covered in grout, I'm just going to leave it for 45 minutes-ish before I start to wipe the grout away. And I wipe the grout away using my gloved hand, taking the excess away and putting it into the little grouting pot. This is called the dry method of grouting, because I'm not using any water and I'm not using a sponge. But make sure you've got paper down to cover your work surface, because you will get lots of little bits of dry grout all over. So you can see I just use my gloved hand, the heel of my hand, to wipe the grout away. And then once I've got rid of most of the grout from the top, I'm just cleaning up the back with the side of the little orange stick. And then I'm going to poke through the hanging hole. But yeah, you can see this little stick is very useful, not only for nudging tiles into place, but wiping the sides of your item. So now I'm going to poke the hole through. So I'm just sort of locating where the hole is, and then just pushing the orange stick, which is just the right size, all the way through. And you can see now that it's got a nice little hole for your ribbon to go through. Once you've poked your ribbon holes through and grouted both of your hearts, just let it dry for 24 hours before you attach the ribbon and put it on display. Hope you enjoyed this project. There is a part 2 of this month's project box, which shows you actually how to cut down the china plate that I've sent you. So look out for that on YouTube.